to record. Well, hello and welcome to Mark My Words. This is Paul Heurig, and Mark My Words is a podcast series offering a glimpse into alternative paradigms hiding just beneath the surface of everyday life, where the first question of the day is always, what if? And where we have once again with us Mark Cornelius, the author of RUT Management and several other books, which we're getting into. And I just thought I would pass this over. Mark, what if we talk about some of the things based on some of your recent move and some of the other elements that have gone along with that as it pertains to your own personal life and to some of the things you've been writing?
Glad to do it. Boy, it's exciting, and we could talk for hours, but we're going to keep this 15 to 20 clean. But, for those of you who do not know, I and my family made a conscious choice to literally move from one end of the country to the other. We have moved from Tennessee, beautiful Tennessee, to beautiful South Dakota. And a lot of people, the biggest question I get these days is why? And there are many different reasons, many. Family is one, be close to family. God said to do it. I'll go right there. And lots of opportunity here. So it's just a wonderful place to be. We have understood or come to realize that in my rut, or I've come to realize anyway, in my rut, there was a time to make a decision. And I'll get to here. Hold on here just a second. First thing is I'm going to throw a teaser at you. Can you see that on the screen? Or no, I didn't share it with you, did I? Hold on. Now we're going to share something with you and do a teaser. So
it is. I see it. I see it right here.
Okay. I won't tell you what that means. Some of you may know what the Corn Palace is. Others of you may be like the philosopher E.J. Binkley, who also was helping us move, who had no idea. But we will get to that point later on. That the real key there is that we all have a perception of something when we see it immediately. And when you're in your rut, you don't always know what it is you're looking at until you examine it and query it and look at it from the different perspective. So I'm going to shoot over to, if I can find it here, my rut map. But of course, I'm going to stop sharing here for just a second. And we will get that going here. Hold on.
Oh, that's grand. I love the fact that the Corn Palace is there for all of our corn accessories.
Corn accessories, right? Exactly. So we'll get into that in a minute because people are going, "What does that mean?" But we will, as I said, we will deal with that in a second. So the other thing I want to do as I'm talking here is get to the map, which everyone is becoming familiar with if you have at all been following what we do here. But hold on. Thought I had that pulled up and, oh, you know what? I do have it pulled up. I know exactly. Nope. I thought I did. You see, here we are on our rut and going away here, and I am having to search around for just a second. But that will happen and we will get it going because I know exactly where it is. I just have to get there and stop talking. Here we go. And let's see here. Where were we? There. left it. Okay, so now, sorry about that. Here, I left Paul smiling face. Everybody is looking for what in the world we're trying to do here. How's that?
Oh, it's perfect.
Okay, apologies for that. Now, as I was saying, you're on your rut. You think everything's going along fine. You read the book. You're managing it well, and suddenly you see that maybe you might need to repair your rut a little bit. It might be that there's something that just doesn't feel right. It might be that you see a something along your route that looks a little bit different, and you want to make sure that you're not getting off track. But you want to make sure that also whatever it is you're seeing may just be a natural part of your rut you weren't expecting. It might be a landmark. And that landmark, as I had just said, I will get you that picture. Are we still sharing?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. That is the beautiful corn palace that you're seeing right there. Or are you seeing it?
I'm not seeing the corn palace,
Okay. Well, then we'll
but we're
figure
good to
this out.
go.
Hold on. I see what's going on. Okay, new share. Here we go. Sorry. I'm getting the hang of it. There.
There she blows. There she is.
Okay. So that is the beautiful corn palace. It is not a palace full of corn. It is a palace of corn. So when E.J. Binkley was driving along with us to get up here, he saw a billboard that said the Corn Palace, Mitchell, South Dakota. And he thought, what in the world is that? And his immediate image was a palace filled with corn and all your corn accessories. However, it was truly the Corn Palace with pictures of corn or made of corn on the outside. A truly unique place. I invite you all to come up and visit us and you will see it. But that's what it is.
It's a
So,
really very interesting piece of architecture there, Mark. And your perception of this was far different than the philosopher Binkley's.
yes, because what I realized as we were going into this uh, is that as I was, as we were looking at our lives, my wife and I, we were saying everything's going along just fine. We just need to leave it alone. And yet, that landmark, which is, by the way, a place where a lot of our relatives live in South Dakota, we felt compelled somehow that we needed to be closer, that we needed to be more nearby. Well, that sounds like we're getting ready to change our rights. Actually, the destination's still the same. It's just that we needed to repair ourselves a little bit. And just because we live in one place doesn't mean that our rut is designed to just live in that one place. It might mean continuing on the journey to another place. And we wanted to make sure we did not get into a pit and get stuck in a place that we weren't supposed to be. So we did some rut repair, and it was a massive project and yet a very quick project. And we found that very easy once we worked together and made decisions together on what we wanted to do to move to Mitchell, South Dakota. So here we are. And we headed for that landmark and we continue on our rut. It is not a new rut, it's the same rut, but it is continuing in a destination from another location.
Very good. And your perception there when you saw the billboard was probably something like, hey, I'm getting closer to my new home because there's that landmark that I saw that was the Corn Palace
Exactly.
billboard. And so, is it EJ Binkley
EJ
that was helping
Binkley,
you?
that's
Yeah,
correct.
what a grand lad because his perception was somewhat different, which brings us to what we're talking about today in terms of what we're looking at with the rut.
And that's a key because as you're traveling along your rut, you're reminded of the things that shaped the direction you're going, like the Corn Palace sign, and that told us, okay, we are exactly on the right route. That's what we're trying to do, is keep to that direction that we had originally intended, with a little repair along the way to avoid the pit. So that's where we are there. Now, I will say this. I'm going to stop sharing. Something that's really important when you're making those kind of decisions is, to me, and again, I'm discovering this too. Um, Rehearsal is an extremely important part of being in the right rut. You want to make sure you are practicing the things that you are determined to do daily, looking at where you are, where you're supposed to be, and making sure that something hasn't distracted you. I'm going to use an object lesson here.
Here we go.
Here we go. So you may, if everyone can see that, there we go, have seen these in a certain restaurant whose name I am not going to mention. If you haven't seen one, I'll give you contact information afterwards and direct you to said restaurants. They're all over the country. But anyway, in South Dakota and Tennessee and parts unknown. Um, this is a puzzle, but it is much like life in that if you move the wrong piece at the wrong time in order to get to a certain, I'm going to do this as I'm talking, a certain destination, you may find yourself in the wrong place. So you hop these little things over here, and you might find that you're doing it in such a way that you're going to get to your destination. You're feeling very confident. And the object in this puzzle, by the way, is to get rid of all the pegs except for one on your little board here. But, uh-oh, that didn't work out.
It requires a little repair.
It requires a lot of repair, so you have to go back and retrace your rut steps and say, okay, what did I do either wrong, or what was I not thinking of? What components were there that I didn't know about or didn't anticipate? And maybe if I do it again and rethink my steps, I might do better. So that's what happens with this, is you get to a point where you start re-examining, and it's a lot of work, honestly. You've got to examine your life, make sure that you are doing it the right way. You may have to change a few things up, but ultimately you're going to get to the point where you believe, let me make sure here, oops, I want to make sure I'm doing it right. I am. Okay, there we go. So you get to the point where you have confidently made the right choices, or you at least believe you have, and suddenly you have solved the puzzle.
Excellent.
So that sounds all grand and all of that, but the truth of the matter is, when you're on your rut and you discover, oh my gosh, there's missing pieces, it can become unsettling. No, it is unsettling. On the other hand, if you rehearse it well enough and you talk it through, and by the way, other people are sharing that same rut, you should share information and make sure that you are getting everything you have out of each person's perception, EJ Binkley's, mine, my wife's, so that you have an understanding of what people are seeing along the way with you. Because even though you might be happy on your rut and going along, if other people aren't seeing the same thing, they may be confused and say, this is not what I expected out of all of this.
That's a good point. And also, that brings up something that you've extended into some other uh, books that you've written concerning listening and hearing what people's perceptions are and trying to put that into a place, wouldn't you say, where you try to analyze or assess what someone else is
Bingo.
saying? And you don't have to take everything that is being said as a different perception of your own. It's just that it just might be a different leg or a different piece of your perception. Does that make
Boy, and
sense to you?
that ties in, Paul, really well with two things. Yes, you got to listen. You got to be perceiving what's going out there. And by listening, that means listening with your eyes, your ears, your brain, everything. But you form opinions when that's happening too. So that E.J. Binkley is driving along the road, and immediately he forms an opinion when he sees a sign about the corn palace that it's a palace full of corn. Whereas Mark's driving along the road, he knows some things that he's rehearsed and he's done a little research, and he sees the palace made of corn. So those are things that are important to communicate. Otherwise, E.J. Binkley might think Mark Cornelius is a total nut and form that opinion, and everything from that point on about Mark Cornelius becomes a little bit skewed. And E.J. Binkley might marginalize Mark a little bit and say, I'm not interested in this guy's opinion. I have my own opinion. That's a palace full of corn. So you have to be able to listen to one another. You have to be able to, instead of forming quick opinions, rehearse a little bit, understand a little bit about each other, and walk that rut together after that rehearsal.
That makes sense, and it also makes sense for those who are listening here to grab rut management. There are sections of this of Mark's book that relate directly with this as well, and see if you can extend some of your own perceptions concerning what paths you're on. Mark, do you have anything to add? It appears as if we're kind of running a little bit low on time, and I want to make sure that you put up any kind of contact information that you have
Oh,
for us.
well, you should do that. Thank you very much, Paul. And hold on here as I get to the, there's EJ again. Okay. Uh, can you see? Let's see. Okay.
I see all
There
of
we
your
go.
contact information. It looks good.
Good. Good. So yeah, and again, I want to reiterate because I think we talked about this even off screen a little bit. Um, just because things look different doesn't mean you're on the wrong rut or that you've gotten off rut. Just recheck your steps. Make sure that you've done everything according to plan. If you see something ahead of you that looks different, that may be a good thing. It's still your rut. Or you may have gotten completely off track because of steps that you didn't examine and consider and misconstrue that this is a palace full of corn. Okay, just recheck it and see what's going on, see what people in your rut are seeing along with you, get it straightened out and continue on or get back on your rut. So,
That's a very good point right there, Mark. And also, you had just mentioned that there are others there, and just to reiterate for the folks out there as well, that you are not alone, and that there are other people that are maybe on your same path at some point, and inquire, listen,
and as
and
you reminded me, by the way, Paul, your rut is not something that you started up on. It's something that someone else created that you are then following until a point where you say, I need to change ruts or I'm doing the right thing and either repair your rut or just keep on trekking.
that sounds grand. Do you want to speak to your contact information at
Yeah,
this point, Mark?
there we go, because we're running short, like you said. Mark my words, that's our podcast that we do, and we will be getting this information out once recorded. But here is my information. So if you want to know more about the Corn Palace, you can email me at markbrights@gmail.com. You can also come to our Facebook page and check that out. Also, there's a website for all of the books that you might be interested in, including rut management. We talk about Marginalized, which is another book we were talking about, and Unmeasuring, which is a book about listening skills. You can also catch us on YouTube, and that's the information right there. So it's
Wonderful.
been up there. I hope people have written this down furiously, but it will be on our YouTube channel as well. And in the meantime, by the way, happy Thanksgiving to all, because that is the time of year and the time of season in this rut time which we dwell.
Absolutely. And I should also add that we have much to be grateful for all of this wonderful information that you're passing out today. And for those who wish to inquire about stuff, you've seen the contact information that Mark has presented to us. Mark, I guess it's time for me to let you go.
Well, let me go, Paul, but you too, and happy rutting.
Absolutely.
Not in the sense. Hopefully, people are getting that one. All right.
That's right. And next time we get together, we're going to have to talk just briefly, and we'll just leave this as a teaser, what your perception was when you saw the mascot of the Corn Palace. So we'll
Oh
leave
my
with that.
gosh! Yes, you saw that.
Yes, we did. And it would be very interesting to kind of just discuss that, kind of to tie a few things in with some of the other topics which we wish to
Okay.
discuss.
Yeah,
So
that'll be a good one. That's fun.
yeah, absolutely,
The
Mark. I'm going to
teaser
leave
for
you
next week.
laughing.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And right now, I'm just going to go ahead and stop our recording. And for those who wish, once again, you've got Mark's contact information, and he can always be reached.
Right
Thank you,
on.
Mark. Talk to you later, man. Bye bye.
Okay.